Greetings, my fellow freedom-loving sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LL3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Thursday, November 12th, 2020. Hopefully everyone had a good Veterans Day. Yeah, it's early in the morning. It came out. People talk politics with the place I go. And you can't get mad, just have fun. Always believe in be proactive, think locally, act locally, and all this social engineering. They all want to blame one person. And, people that know me on my show, I can be critical of President Trump on a lot of good areas. But if you're going to, point the finger one area, it's unhealthy. It can backfire on you. But the truth of the matter is, they're good folks. I'm not no bitters. I just have fun with them all the time. It's not going to lose any friendships by any means. That's downright ludicrous. However, it's looks like the thing got a little bit tighter on the challenges. Some people still believe Trump's going to lose because many of them watch the mainstream media. There's nothing proof. No one signed any forms yet. And, of course, they did a false start. It happened with Al Gore in 2000. And he took it all away and lost and conceded on January 6th, 2001. So I'm expecting this to go all the way down to the wire as well on January 6th, next 2021. I'll make it official. So that's how I see it. But, to each his own. However, you think this happening, but we got United States of America has a lot of problems. Ho, ho, ho. If you still are convinced, you haven't been paying attention. And I say that out of love. Well, this one here, I'm going to be doing a few articles. And this one here came from the Epoch Times. And we're going to say the Great Reset of Australia's capitalism. Okay, so that would be the title. And this is here, the Great Reset of Capitalism, a threat to our way of life. Australian senator. So, Great Reset of Australia's capitalism. So that'll be the topic. The title and plus, of course. All right, as it reads here, I'm just gonna. This is by Caden Pearson, and it says here, a motion by One Nation leader Pauline Hanson calling on the Australian government to boycott the World Economic Forum, or WEF. Great Reset agenda was blocked in the Senate on November 11th. All right, people out there should learn about these things, the World Economic Forum, and you think one man does everything? Look what they try to plan. Okay. World Economic Forum. I believe they're on YouTube also. The Great Reset of Capitalism aimed to take advantage of the chaos and disruption caused by the CCP, Chinese Communist Party virus, novel virus, pandemic to revamp all aspects of our society and economies. Hanson said the policies of the Great Reset would destroy Australia's economy, push socialist and neo-Marxist policies onto Australians, and pave the way for big controlling government suppression of free speech and reduced property rights. The proposal was defeated 2-37 after the Liberals and the Nationals allied with Labour and the Greens. Yes, master, we will sell our souls to the one world order, mate. It is absolute travesty that the Australian government has sided with the globalists of the World Economic Forum and their Great Reset agenda against the interests of everyday Australians, Hanson told the Epoch Times in a statement. There's a group of global lefty elites, billionaires, business executives, and celebrities who think they know better than us how to run our country, she said. However, the South Australian Liberal Senator Anne Rutson rejected the notion of boycotting discussions on the Great Reset. She said the government participates in a variety of international forums designed to enhance collaboration, but will not be part of any agreements that don't reflect Australia's values or interests. Victorian Green Senators Janet Rice also rose to express opposition to the motion, where she accused Hanson of running scared of Agenda 21, the Illuminati, and the shadowy cabals that supposedly control the world. She probably got that. Probably, I can say this. Is Senator Janet Rice's idol Adolf Hitler? Very similar. He used that same rhetoric. Rice described the Great Reset agenda as a modest WEF initiative that aims for global cooperation to manage the direct consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. The truth is, unless we take this pandemic seriously and cooperate globally, dying of coronavirus actually has a much more serious impact on your individual freedoms and your economic freedoms, Rice said. Yeah, sounds like a used car saleswoman, right? But what Rice described as a modest initiative, Prince Charles, a strong proponent of the Great Reset, described as a chance to remake nations across the planet. For Hansen and others, the Great Reset agenda is seeking to capitalize on the pandemic to overturn lives, push control agendas, and meddle in social systems in countries across the world. This so-called reset is absolute rubbish, and we should make a stand to play no part in it, to protect Australians and our way of life, Hansen said. What is the Great Reset? Justin Hatkins, editor-in-chief of StoppingSocialism.com and the editorial director of the Herald Institute, wrote about the Great Reset in an op-ed for the Epoch Times in July. Global leaders, including Prince Charles, met a virtual meeting held in June to call for a Great Reset of capitalism. Haskins said that many of those at the meeting support the elimination of the world's current capitalist system and have promoted socialist policies such as wealth taxes, Green New Deal-like programs, and national jobs and guarantees and government incomes. Among those who spoke at the event or expressed their support separately for the plan were Ma Jun, chairman of the Green Finance Committee at the China Society for Finance and Banking, and a member of the Monetary Policy Committee of the People's Bank of China. Antonio Guterres, the General Secretary of the United Nations, powerful union leaders, activists from groups such as Greenpeace International, CEOs and presidents of large corporations such as BP, MasterCard, and Microsoft, and officials from the International Monetary Fund. Yeah. Blame it all on one man for this. But the person who has mostly articulated the vision of the Great Reset is Klaus Schwab, is the head of the World Economic Forum and one of the Reset's most ardent supporters. Haskin wrote, every country from the United States to China must participate. Every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. Schwab wrote an article published on the WEF's website. In short, we need a great reset of capitalism. Yeah, but their platform will benefit all of humanity, right? I don't think so. Schwab also said that all aspects of society and economies must be revamped, from education to social contracts and working conditions. Haskins wrote that it's terrifying as this might sound worse was yet to come. Hopefully I got some drips here. Yeah, it's okay. I'll be all right. At the June event, the WEF announced that the Great Reset agenda would be focused on its next annual event in Davos, scheduled for January 2021. At the Davos meeting, powerful business leaders, government officials, activists, and academics will promote the Great Reset and coordinate a massive worldwide campaign to promote their agenda, Haskins wrote. Sorry about that. Shoot. I goofed up there. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button, folks. Okay, I got it back here. Yeah. Wrote their agenda, Haskins wrote. For Haskins, the Great Reset agenda is a dangerous moment for freedom, both in the United States and across the planet. Not only has the government used the COVID-19 pandemic to increase its power, world leaders are now planning to expand it dramatically in the years to come through their Great Reset reforms, he wrote. If we don't stop this radical move toward collectivism and decimation of capitalism, the world freedom movement might never recover. There's going to be some dents along the way, but when everything else collapses with the New World Order. we could revive ourselves and have true liberty as individuals. But what you see in here is just an example of what is going on. And I remember listening to a gentleman named Leon. I believe he's from Midnight Oil. He had a show called Fair Dinkum Radio. And he's a biblical man, Christian, all that, but when it comes to the one world order, he's very good. He talked about these things. So I knew about this like many years ago. So what we're seeing right now, folks, it's all social engineering. And now what happened in Australia is a disturbing example. All the bobbleheads that sold their rear ends to the globalists. Yes, the house peasants. Yes, boss, everything's great, boss. Oh, nothing wrong, boss. They're just lying. Everything's perfect. That's what the wankers down there from Australia's finest, elected servants, 37 of them, went for globalism. And I know there's one person from Australia said he's very angry, and I can't blame him one bit. We need to pay real close attention on what's happening. I know with the 2020 election, for example, pretty distracting, but we got to look at everything else. The people from Australia, if you're going to do pitchforks and crucifixions to these guys, so be it, because they curse themselves. Never, ever take your farms away. They take advantage of you. But I want to hit this next one here. I don't want to rant too much. This one here came from the AmericanFreePress.net. New COVID book banned by Amazon. Yeah, and they're like really anti-censorship, right? COVID-19. James Perloff's virus critique contains information some people want kept hidden. James Perloff can now be added to the growing list of authors who have had their books banned by Amazon. Perloff's newest work, COVID-19 and the Agendas to Come, Red Pill, has sold over 3,500 units at Amazon since its debut on August 20th. For an independent author, the book was an overwhelming success. That is until October 15th, when Perloff received his first notice from the world's largest bookstore. Perloff received an unsigned email from Amazon notifying him that the company was suspending his right to publish the book because there was a dispute about whether he had publishing rights overseas. He did and does, as Amazon was informed via a routine question and answer screen where Perloff published the book with Amazon's Kindle Direct self-publishing service. Perloff again began going through the process of affirming that he had the right to sell his own book. 2 hours later, another unsigned email arrived from Amazon. The worldwide distribution rights were no longer issues for Amazon, which now said that the author had violated its policy on content guidelines. Perloff, stunned by Amazon's anonymous decision, asked for a more specific explanation about what content guideline was violated. Amazon responded, "We've reviewed your COVID-19 and the Agendas to Come Red Pill and found it is as a violation of our content guidelines. We will not be offering this title for sale on Amazon. We reserve the right to determine whether content provides a poor customer experience and remove the content from sale." Amazon's answer was a non-answer. The author later wrote a blog post detailing his interaction with Amazon and his thoughts on the ban. "I like to say something about the book itself," Perloff wrote. 2 days after publication, it ranked as high as number 254 of all books on Amazon. And over the course of the last 2 months, it was often ranked as Amazon's #1 seller in the category of respiratory diseases. Along with over 3,500 Amazon sales, the book has received 50 customer ratings, 92% 5-star, 8% 4-star. No one gave it a 1, 2, or 3 stars. Very damn impressive. So how can Amazon call it a poor customer experience? Aren't their customers supposed to determine that? There has been some uncertainty as to why the book has been banned. Was it because it takes strongly anti-mainstream media approach to explain the great pandemic of 2020? Perloff isn't sure that the case. that's the case. Instead, he questions whether it's about class. Why I was singled out was unclear. Perloff wrote, Amazon initially banned Alex Brennansen's unreported truth about COVID-19 and lockdowns and reserved its decision after protests were voiced, notably by Elon Musk. Amazon also banned Julio Gonzalez's book, Corona Lessons, but reserved itself after intervention by Senator Marco Rubio, an associate of Gonzalez. Unfortunately, I'm not a friend of Elon Musk or any U.S. senators. However, the First Amendment was not intended to apply to the rich and the powerful. Perloff isn't an uninformed hack pushing conspiracy theories about buying tinfoil hats for coming end time apocalypse. He's an accomplished author who has done two of the most groundbreaking works in the alternative research field: The Shadow of Powers, The Council on Foreign Relations, and The American Decline, and Truth is a Lonely Warrior, Unmasking the Force Behind Global Destruction, 2013, and are both canon within their subgenres. Perloff is also the author of 13 pieces of the jigsaw, solving political and cultural and spiritual riddles, past and present. I remember reading his interview on that book too, so I might have to buy a bunch of this stuff. Oh, of course. Which tackles topics as diverse as why Nagasaki was targeted by Truman for an atomic bomb. For real reason, there was a golden age of television. He's done 2 critical works on Darwinism. Interesting. And the reason there was a golden age of television. Yeah, because there was a claim, too, that Nagasaki has the most populated Christians in that city. So, and there's a claim that they bombed that. So it's just a claim, according to some of the interviews I've heard from him. So, just to let you folks know. In a mail exchange with this writer, Perloff described what the incident has taught him about censorship in 2020. Well, it was not a big surprise, honestly. I thought they would censor the book on day one, Perloff wrote. But after it became a bestseller for 7 weeks running, I was hoping the book's popularity might keep it on Amazon. That was naive of me, of course. We've seen YouTube videos and millions of views deleted. Popularity has nothing to do with it and may even work against you, or as more visible item can't fly beneath the radar. Perloff also found it odd that the censorship was not the singular part of a wave. Another thing that struck me about the censorship was the coordination. Perloff said, other alternative media were censored at the same time as me. Just as one example, Sean Stone of SGT Report, who has 625,000 acknowledged followers on YouTube, lost everything in one day. His YouTube channel, his Patreon account, and his MailChimp account. Man, that's coordination. The censorship is at an unprecedented level, and it is apt to only get worse. I am encouraged, however, by fighting back. Some people are doing, for an example, lawsuit against Google and YouTube that whistleblowers Zach Voorhees and Ryan Hartwig were launching. Perloff has also decided to fight Amazon on a decision. He has taken his case to a law firm that specializes in First Amendment cases. He's also planning to notify the House Antitrust Committee, which has already paid special attention to the workings of the Jeff Bezos global retail giant. Readers of the Free American Press can currently find it in the bookstore as well. The book is available, but like any banned book, printings and stock may be sporadic and unpredictable. The time of support Perloff's work is now, and Perloff knows that. He understands the psychology of censorship. He ended positively. One last thing I'll say as a word of encouragement. Censorship often backfires. If you say to people, don't read this book, their instinct is to go and read it. Absolutely. Yeah, so I encourage you folks, support this man. And it's incredible, man. It's so, let's blame it on one man. The president's, it's all the president's fault. Exceptionalism, right? I'm just being sarcastic at times, so I hear this stuff all the time. That's why. So it's nothing new, but it's disturbing. Okay, and this is why places like Amazon, all these other sites, they need me more. I need them, and I'm not, afraid to say it. There's other avenues you can buy these books. I say hit your neighborhood bookstore. Say, hey, this is what I want. How much? What's the deal? You can support them through that. Even use American Free Press. And even Power of Prophecy. TextMotors.com. They're selling that book. They're selling his books on that site as well. Just give you at least 3. And maybe hit other places too. So I would say check it out. And I heard his interviews through Power of Prophecy. And he's very good. Very articulate. Not a chump. High IQ and all that. So remember, folks, if you know more, they be afraid of it. Alright, so we're going to do one more here, my friends. And this one here came from the organicprepper.com. And this one's entitled American Gun Control. Hear how South Americans were gradually and quietly disarmed. And of course, not Daisy, but J.G. Martinez. For some law enforcement officers, a civilian with a gun is dangerous, whether mentally stable or not. It stands to reason that just as there are mentally unstable citizens, there are also compromised officers. Laws, opinions, and ideologies on gun ownership and gun control differ worldwide. South America, for example, never wanted its citizens armed. It isn't a process that happens overnight. It doesn't start with outright confiscation. Selko has written about it too. Citizens have been programmed for years not to fight crime. Gun laws in South America have been an inquisitorial ruling for hundreds of years, an almost non-existing ruling by the dictatorship regarding crime and self-defense has gotten citizens used to being unarmed and helpless faced with criminals. The authorities recommended citizens to give all the valuables to the criminals, stay put, and do not by any means defend themselves. They want you to be a coward, a wuss, or a walking doormat. Okay, of course, it is one of the reasons for the high rates of crimes in the cities. On the other hand, though there seem to be no arbitrary laws, some arming themselves for protection with a weapon bought on the street can expect problems. As a result of the lengthy and partial inquisitory method, South America deals with one of the worst drug problems globally, and armed forces and law enforcement organizations are inundated with violent gangs in several countries. What do South American officials claim the general perception of gun possession to be? In South America, possession of a gun equals violence, rather than the hand of a violent criminal who holds the gun. This statement is just one of many efforts made to minimize civilians owning guns. Law-abiding South American citizens are deterred from possessing the firearm for defense, hunting, or even practice target shooting. Regular nonviolent citizens are now generally associate guns with gangs, drugs, crime, and violence. Add to the general perception, media, movies, and lack of responsible education make keeping these people unarmed that much easier. Different world, different views. In other societies, people would be taught that the hand of holding the gun holds power and needs to be worthy of that power and the responsibility that comes with it. Self-responsibility in most South American societies is a loose concept, which, not surprisingly, leads to many problems in this part of the world. Police officers should be grateful to have decent citizens around them who legally carry a firearm. A decent citizen who knows how to use a gun properly could offer support in certain situations. However, South America's preference is to minimize a civilian defending himself or herself. Why? Money and control. So if you support gun control, you want to be enslaved. 6 gun laws of the 6 largest economies of South America. An article published by ASCOA in 2019 details gun-related legislation in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, and Venezuela. At the time of that publication, gun possession was legal for civilians. Venezuela, for an example, the 22. That's it. And more powerful went to the government. Recently, however, now it's banned under Article 324, firearms completely. I'll just leave it at that. Recently, however, restrictions have become more strict. The one exception is Bolsonaro, the president of Brazil, who loosened the rules in 2019. For the remaining 5 countries, permit standards for firearm possession require the following: no criminal record, psychiatric information, undergo firearm training, show proof of income, prospect owners must be fingerprinted. Argentina requests a justifiable reason for the need of a carry of a gun. A viable request considering Argentina suffered the most volatile political situations on the continent for a decade of the last 30 years and a severe economic crisis. Restrictions are meant to diminish violence and get guns off streets, or so we are told. Educating oneself on the judicial system will reveal that violence level are due partially to corrupt judges releasing violent criminals for a fee. In many places in South America, a gangster caught with a gun won't go to jail. Officers will confiscate the guns to later sell on the black market and pocket the money while allowing gangsters to go free. The odds of this happening in some countries may be less likely, but it happens, and it will continue to happen. Several countries will allow possession of a gun for self-defense inside a home. There are limitations set for carrying a firearm outside the home on from one place to another. The ratio of law enforcement officers per citizen is extremely low. Having a considerable amount of well-armed, well-educated, law-abiding citizens is not something corrupt officers want. After all, those citizens may become tired of the corruption and take matters into their own hands. Damn straight. Brazil's president recently made substantial changes in gun laws. Brazil is a very rich country with a well-developed industry. It is the only South American country that could, in the near future, rival the big boys up north. President Jair Bolsonaro had recently eased gun laws for the South American country that in 2019 reportedly had more than 63,800 homicides and led the world in firearm-related deaths. Justification for applying for a gun permit is necessary. Under President Bolsonaro's relaxed licensing decree, justification can be living in an area with a high crime rate. Another change brought on by this decree, permits have now gone from 5-year validity to 10. The amount of ammunition purchased at once has risen, and how many weapons an individual can own have risen. Historically, the right to bear arms was a necessity for years. In the USA, generations ago, carrying means of defense was necessary. Wild animals, aggravated natives, bandoliers, etc. Back then, you were to travel from one town to the next, it was best you took something to defend yourself. Since then, with each new decade, came new rules that aimed to keep the bad guys under control, but without getting too political, disarming the great general population seemed to be many governments' agendas. South Americans believe that fewer guns in the hands of people are going to make their streets safer. Michelle Bachelet did it in Chile, encouraging citizens to turn in their unregistered guns, which were destroyed. Colombia is a complex situation, with Pablo Escobar having put the country on the map for good gun laws are quite restrictive. One moment here. I'm going to take care of this. Oh, yeah, see, like I said, when government knows best, it turns to manure. Okay, so you got to always look at these things, folks. It's just insane, you know? Very insane. That's why I get a little bit turned off on these things. But, boom. All right, sorry for a little delay there, my friends. The government is the only one with the right to control the distribution, manufacturing, license of firearms. The official position for Colombia's gun laws is to study every case before a permit is provided. The internal confliction of Colombia has lasted for decades. Owning firearms is complicated for everyone there. Meanwhile, in Venezuela, regarding Venezuela, forget everything that you have read about owning guns or buying ammo. A slow change began to occur in 2015. Ammo slowly stopped flowing to shops, intentionally designed that way to pass unnoticed. There is not a single gun shop left. Civilians cannot legally buy firearms, nor they can purchase ammo. Like I said, Article 324 of the Venezuelan Constitution. However, the paramilitary gangs, called collectivos, sponsored by those sitting in the big chairs, roam freely armed to the teeth. These policies have nothing to do with violence and crime. These policies have created an unarmed population that will easily be controlled. Bad people can and do get guns with or without a permit. All that matters is control. And there's some related links, and Jose, he's spot on. When it comes to government, you never trust them. And even when firearms were banned in due time for certain people or countries, don't matter, they get taken advantage of. They become more victims of tyranny. Genocide, democide occurred as well, especially mainly in the 20th century. You can look at a book by Death by Government by the late R.J. Rummel. And I encourage folks, too, to look at Innocence Betrayed. The Human Cost of Victims. Innocence Betrayed, JPFO video. You probably go to archive.org. You can look it up. I posted so many times. I just tell folks, just do it, okay? Very interesting stuff. And even racism, gun control, even certain folks in the United States, for example, in the past, black mulatto free or not, you couldn't have certain firearms. You couldn't have firearms at all. Okay? So it's a form of enslavement, folks. If you leave voter security in the hands of the government, it will burn you. Matter saying never again. The Nazi gun law of 1938. All the Jews got remaining disarmed. All right, so always remain vigilant. You never trust these sons of bitches. Even you can look at the Holocaust of Rwanda. Very similar. You go on and on and on. And I digress. And based on what's happening right now, people should be ready, be trained, and keep them handy. And that will be it. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you send something interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please send your correspondence to Decorum. Furthermore, I'll leave the footnotes on my Spreaker page. In addition, you can email me at lookyluck3@gmail.com or lookylucknumbers03@protonmail.com. Do donations for these organizations, these sites, Organic Prepper, American Free Press, the Epoch Times. Or if you want to send me some love, hit me at paypal.me/LokiLuck3. Once again, thank you for your time. Plus, always remember that demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Till next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love. And may your guardian spirits be with you.